The average person in society, they read something, they hear something, they watch something, and they ask themselves, is this real or is this AI? And I think previously, you have a whole generation that's on TV, on radio, where they're just going to believe every single thing, even on social media, they're going to believe every single thing that they see. That's the older generation. Well, now I look at our generation, I look at the generation kind of below us, we're getting to that point. And you think about the negative impacts that has on trust. If someone doesn't trust something, they're probably not going to buy something. I don't know about you, Ryan, but if I don't trust something, I'm not going to go buy something and get my wallet out and think about the implications that has on society, on the economy. And so I don't know. I hate to say I'm not optimistic about where we're headed, but that would be my biggest area of concern is when the average person doesn't know if something's real or AI and they start questioning it in their head.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Ryan Snod. It rhymes Lod, and you're listening to watching the Rhymes Lod podcast, the business podcast for people in the state of Iowa. We're sitting back down again with the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Dozer. What's up, man?
Appreciate you having me on, man. Once you invited me back, I was like, dang, it's been a few years, and definitely a lot has changed in the world of AI since then.
Sure, yeah. You're probably, episode 10 or something, and now we're here on like 93, 94, whatever we're at. So it's especially in the world of AI, things move so fast where I feel like we're gonna cover a lot of stuff for people today to kind of catch them up on what's happened the last year with AI. So
I think GPT-4 might have been around when we were doing the first episode, and now we're on GPT-5 and Sora 2's in the mix and all sorts of good stuff coming in here.
Sure, yeah. So, and we'll dig into kind of all that stuff. I know last time we kind of gave a deep dive, just for people, if you didn't listen to Ryan's episode last time, go check it out, kind of hear his career path, but he's definitely become, I would say, like a AI influencer, if you will, or like a thought leader.
I don't like that term, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Like a thought leader, right? Yeah. Just talking about it, keeping people up to date because it's just, there's so much going on with it. And everyone, the dang AI, but it seriously is going to, and it has and will continue to change, at least our generation. I feel like this is the web boom that happened in the late 90s of like changing the way that humans behave and how work gets done and all that stuff. So I think a good place to probably start would just be, we talked about AI being kind of this new frontier. What tech leaps have you seen in the last like 24 to 12 months or 12 to 24 months since we've talked last? What have been some of these like new platforms on the scene or huge things that have just changed the outlook of AI as people use it today?
12 to 24 months, AI images and AI video, I think is definitely a big one. Google's VO3, when that came out, people still argue that's better than OpenAI's Sora 2, but I think that's the wrong debate to have. So I think AI video, remember the Will Smith eating spaghetti? Oh, yeah. Remember that famous one 2 years ago? Well, if you compare that now to when that first rolled out, I think that was VO or first iteration of Sora. So I definitely say AI video, AI images have become very good with Google's Nano Banana. I'm sure you've heard of that by now. And in addition to just kind of the media side, I would say one thing that's really blown up is AI agents and AI automations. Automations have been around since, probably 2015, 2016, if not before that, with Zapier. I mean, Zapier has been around for a long time, but now you got other players like Make.com, which is the rebranded version of Integrament. That was their first name. NADN has come on the scene pretty hot since 2019, if you're familiar with NADN. And now OpenAI yesterday, funny enough, just dropped their own agent builder within their own API platform. So now people are saying, are they going to come after NADN and Make.com and have their own automation platform with their own ecosystem of models so people don't have to go into Gemini or Anthropic Claude and they can keep everything in-house? So I would say images, video, and then AI automations are probably the big ones.
No, I love that. And there's so many layers to it. I think a good place to start would probably be, you mentioned some different kind of buzzwords we want to make sure to clarify for people. Agents, talk to me about agents versus automations, because I think a lot of people assume AI is just typing a prompt into ChatGPT. Yes, that is a piece of it, but there's so much that goes into it. So what's the difference between an agent and automation?
Yeah, and let me just say this first. I think there's a lot of shiny object syndrome around AI agents. And so the best analogy that I like to give is, let's say you want a cup of coffee. So there's a predefined task, and the end task is a cup of coffee. Well, you could look at a coffee maker as sort of an automation. There's a set of predefined tasks. It's linear. You put the grounds in, you put the water in, and that what I would define as an automation. It's kind of a preset of tasks there, and it runs through a workflow step by step. And an agent, I would say, is more adaptive. So an agent, let's say, is a barista at a coffee shop. So if you're comparing a barista to a coffee maker, let's say, there's an SOP and there's a set defined instructions for that barista to make your cup of coffee, but let's say the milk runs out, right? let's say there's an error in the espresso machine. Well, that barista has to work on the fly to figure out a solution to get you your end goal, which is the cup of coffee. So agents are adapting. They're making their own decisions versus an automation. You have a preset defined instructions, if that makes sense. It's not making its own decisions on the fly like an agent is.
Sure. Well, I think there's going to be a point where, information's coming in faster than it's going out. There's like a kind of a piece where the AI is generating things, but I feel like it's pooling knowledge, right? So talk to me about how some of these platforms just throw at Claude or GPT or any of these other ones. How are they like sourcing information from all these other prompts to continue to build this knowledge base? So like the brain is continuing to grow as it gets bigger.
So how are they, feeding their data sources?
Yes, like where's the data coming from? You put a prompt in, where does it come from? Where did the output come from?
Well, that's a good question because, a lot of it's trained on the open internet, right? OpenAI, Claude, Gemini. And this is actually very interesting when copyright comes into the mix, right? Because it's very interesting to me how OpenAI, Anthropic, and Gemini, they somehow get a pass on copyright, how they can train off people's books and artwork and all this other stuff. But if me or you were to try to do that, well, we would be in trouble legally for copyright infringement, but because they hide behind national security. And that's kind of the trend that I'm seeing now with these big tech companies. And I won't go down this rabbit hole, of course, but yes, they scrape the open internet, everything on the internet. They also have a lot of internal data sources as well. So Claude, I know, or Anthropic, who owns Claude, they have a lot of like informational and educational, like from education institutions. I think they're feeding their models with a lot of that stuff. OpenAI has their own internal data that they're using. They might have their own survey data too that they're running somewhere else and their own internal data sources. But outside of the open internet, you beg a very serious question there, Ryan, because where are they getting this data? Is OpenAI or is AI just kind of feeding off AI at that point, and we're on this continuous loop of AI slop, I like to call it? I don't know the answer. We'll see.
For sure. When I just know a lot of times, if I'm prompting things with like ChatGPT, for example, it'll give you your first output, but then if you reprompt again, you mentioned like last time we talked, like prompting it again, like do you understand with a question or something to kind of clarifying questions. I think that's really where it will come from is like you kind of build this like profile, right, where it learns and evolves and it's like, oh, you've asked the same question, at least for me anyway, I asked the same like 5 or 6 prompts and it just learns and it's like, oh, you asked me this last time of how to prepare interview questions or how to do
memory.
It has memory, so it can remember. It speeds that process up too.
Yeah, now we have memory capabilities. Claude was always kind of behind in this regard, but they've picked that up too. But ChatGPT now has projects. I think they had GPTs at the time we were chatting, but they was very early on. But now ChatGPT projects has project-only memory. So you can have these set projects within your ChatGPT ecosystem and say, hey, I want this project for this client. I want this project for my internal SOPs. I want this client for another project. And in that project, it's only going to be feeding off of the data that you're previously asking it within that one project, not the entire chat history that you have in ChatGPT, which is a very big deal in my opinion.
For sure. I know before we started rolling, we talked about was it Sora 2 that just came out, and now they've got, it's basically more and more realistic video just generated from nothing, right? It's saying, hey, put a video of Tom Cruise hanging out a window of a car and it'll look like Tom Cruise within reason. Talk to me about some of these things when it comes like kind of the teeter-totter of reality, because I think last time we talked, Photoshop AI was terrible. You could say, Photoshop this and you can tell it's AI or their face is all contorted, their nose is missing or something, where now it's starting to get a little more wise. What's kind of this teeter-totter of reality when it comes to some of these things like Sora or some of these generative AI that makes images or videos that look kind of like, is that real or not?
I think a lot of people have seen Sora 2 footage around like Instagram and TikTok now at some point, but I think we're at a very interesting point in time, Ryan. I like to call it the AI inflection point, where the average person in society, they read something, they hear something, they watch something, and they ask themselves, is this real or is this AI? And I think previously, you have a whole generation that's on TV, on radio, where they're just going to believe every single thing, that, even on social media, they're going to believe every single thing that they see. That's the older generation. Well, now I look at our generation, I look at the generation kind of below us, we're getting to that point. And you think about the negative impacts that has on trust. If someone doesn't trust something, they're probably not going to buy something. I don't know about you, Ryan, but if I don't trust something, I'm not going to go buy something and get my wallet out and think about the implications that has on society, on the economy. And so I don't know. I hate to say I'm not optimistic about where we're headed, but that would be my biggest area of concern, is when the average person doesn't know if something's real or AI and they start questioning it in their head.
Absolutely. I think there's definitely times where people shoot themselves in the foot. I think of like I follow an insurance agent on Instagram, and they clearly use AI generated images of like their team. And I'm like, it's doing you a worse.
Right. AI slop.
Yeah, it's literally like, it's just, yeah, you're checking the box you posted on Instagram today, but now I'm questioning everything about your company of like, what else are you lying about or making up or just creating from scratch? Like, oh, it'd be nice to have a team of 15 diverse people that all have nicely done hair and they're in this nice bright office in New York City. It's like, okay, well, what else are you lying about? So I think there's definitely authenticity will win out. I feel like that's the one thing that will continue to be the X factor for people, creators, for companies. Like, are you being real, authentic, true to yourself, even if it's harmful to your image? Are you just being real? I think people can respect that more.
Which is why I've kind of been all in on long form YouTube, the authentic long form YouTube. I think that is really the selling point of anything. People trust long form video. Yes, there's a way to spoof it with a clone, but at the end of the day, if you're trying to create stuff that actually converts to revenue, leads, or whatever the end goal is on the conversion, I just think authentic long form content is the way to go. And you brought up a good point with that insurance guy posting AI slop on his Instagram. There's this funny, belief out there that somehow AI slop moves the needle. And that's the sales pitch of all these AI tools out there where it's like, generate 1,000 blog posts or 1,000 images. Oh my God, every day on autopilot. It's like, cool, but what does that do? Does it move the needle? Does it convert to anything? No one is asking these questions. They just think that AI slop moves the needle, and that's not true,
No, I totally agree. You mentioned the YouTube stuff. We'll probably take a pause on the AI stuff and kind of jump in. I'd love to hear more about your YouTube journey. Last time we talked, you were kind of
just starting,
just launching the AI focused YouTube channel, and now you've crossed, was it 25,000 subscribers?
Yeah, over 26 now. Yeah,
it's crazy, man. So I mean, I've been on YouTube for 15 years, and I'm at like 16,000 subscribers. So to do that in like 2 years is nuts. So talk to me about kind of your the cadence of how you publish and really how you've grown as fast as you have on there.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I always joke with people that I am not creative, right? I don't know anything about edit. I don't have your background. I have a video production, video editing, graphic design. I don't know shit, at the end of the day, but I have an SEO background. And so I saw that as my advantage. And when you look at the YouTube landscape, doesn't matter what niche it is, in my opinion, look at all these videos that say, watch my review, day in the life, vlog. No one knows how to optimize this content for SEO. And the reality is YouTube's the second biggest search engine on the internet behind Google, owned by the same company. And when people come to YouTube, Ryan, they have high intent to find a solution to whatever their problem is. And so that was kind of my selling point there, and what I saw as a huge opportunity of getting into this AI marketing niche. I have a background in marketing of over 10 years. I started getting into AI more and more. And so I started finding, these keywords of popular tools that I can review, best AI tools for marketing, best AI tools for XYZ, listicle content, how-to content with ChatGPT tutorials, comparisons, really attacking all of these keywords that has really just compounded for, the past little over 2 years I've been doing this. I've just seen it all compound. And most of my views, I think 41 or 42% of my total watch time on my channel is from YouTube search. That doesn't count Google search. That doesn't count Perplexity or ChatGPT or all the other mediums my videos might be showing up in. But I just wanted to hint at the power of YouTube SEO for those that really don't even think about it, because most don't.
Sure. Well, and it's such an interesting kind of landscape because, like you said, you're leaving all these little, I would call it like fishing lines out for different things where people can find, or they're curious about stuff. And obviously, if someone's looking it up, they want to learn more about it. You have a lot more knowledge than the average person. Get them in your ecosystem. So talk to me about how you're using and leveraging your YouTube channel to grow an actual business outside of it. Because we mentioned you have an SEM business or a search engine
marketing business
you guys help with a bunch of different things. This is kind of a separate project. Talk to me how you're building your marketing ecosystem to fuel a business on the back end.
Yeah. So with YouTube, in my opinion, it's one of the best top of funnel marketing platforms out there.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, you would know this too. But there's a lot of ways to monetize. Let me just say this first. There's ad revenue, there's affiliates, there's sponsorships. But if you're trying to just chase ad revenue, that's a race to the bottom, especially with AI content flooding the mix and whatnot. But in terms of actually making real money on YouTube, you need to take people off the platform and into your own ecosystem. Best way is through email, right? So I have an opt-in guide for the best free, I think it's called my AI Marketing Essentials Guide, where I have all my automation templates, my favorite tools, my favorite prompts. And so I have it in the description in the second line. That way, when someone's on mobile, they can still see it. That's a big reason for that. Also in the pinned comment, another great place to get people into your ecosystem through an email list. And then I also call it out in the first 30 seconds of my video as well. So when someone's watching, I call it out. Hey, you can find the link for this in the description or pinned comment below, making it clear that I want people to get off YouTube and into my ecosystem. So I think I have almost 5,000 emails now since I started YouTube 2 years ago. Obviously, the more the merrier, but I'm scrubbing the list too. It's not just, anyone can go buy 10,000, 50,000 email subs, but it doesn't matter if they're not opening or converting or whatever. And so the goal here is to get people on your email list, take them through a drip sequence, whether that's 3, 5, 7 emails through trial and error, whatever your offering is. And for me, it's funny timing that you bring this up, Ryan, because I actually have a new service that I rolled out, I think about a month ago at this point. I'm still working on the website updates and whatnot, but it's called the AI Authority Accelerator. And so I'm helping executives, founders, and creators build personal brands in the age of AI through building trust signals, through having automated content creation on their relevant platforms. And so that's kind of my ICP right now, is getting founders, executives, and creators, getting them into my email sequence that's going to basically explain, how do you build a personal brand? How do you create consistent content with automations? Establishing trust. The old Gary V is at jab, jab, right hook in a drip sequence. And then from there, the obviously end goal is to get them to sign up, or at least get them on a discovery call, and then get them in my sales funnel.
Sure. No, I love it. And I think if people are listening to a lot of, this is no new method that people are doing, but a lot of people that are on YouTube as a viewer don't realize that people that are building this whole ecosystem to try to, one, just give back to the community, help people, but also build a business on the back end. Because I can even attest with my channel. Mine's focused on helping videographers build a business, but I still have videos that are ranked that get
evergreen.
Evergreen stuff that I made 6, 7, 8, I think 10 years ago is one of my oldest ones that I'm still getting email leads from today. And it's like a really crappy lead magnet, to be honest, but people find value in it. And I'm like, oh, I would have designed it differently now or whatever. But I'm like, it's all automated. It's all set up and helping people every day. So I think it's interesting seeing how it all plays out, because you have your top of funnel stuff, but now you're starting, you have your AI marketing course, like the school program.
Yeah, I have a school community. I didn't even talk about that.
Yeah,
that's all part of the funnel. Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me about, there's a free resource, but then people can get in this school community and stay up to date. Cause I really feel like that's the secret sauce. That's what you're selling or offering people, is like how to stay up to date on all the moving stuff. Cause there's like 12 different platforms and new stuff every day. So talk to me about kind of the school program.
Yeah, that's my lower ticket offer. So once someone gets in kind of my email sequence and my list, the low ticket offer is the school community. So right now it's $5 a month, and you get access to all my automation templates and all sorts of other goodies and weekly live Q&As and whatnot. And then I have a $300 a month annual plan, which gets, a few more things on top of that. But I'm mainly using that for 2 reasons. That's not the end all be all as a school community. There are people who are making full-time, 6 figures from school. That's not something that I want to do. There's just a lot more work, and I'm not super passionate about it. But the end goal there, Ryan, is 2 things. One, it's distribution. If I can build up a school community, because right now I have 215 members, maybe a little more than that. If I can build up a school community of hundreds, if not thousands of members, well, that's distribution for my YouTube videos once I publish and get an initial boost in the first 24 hours, right? That's one play. Another play too is they're now kind of a higher tier lead in my ecosystem, where a lot of those people are coming in. I'm trying to attract my ICP of founders, executives, and creators. I'm building more trust with those people. They've already bought something from me. So those are higher tier leads for a higher ticket service like the AI Authority Accelerator. So it's kind of working people through my funnel, and also distribution is the strategy there.
Sure. Well, we always say in marketing too, it's like if you can get somebody to give you even $1, they're such a higher ranked lead than somebody that has never bought anything from you before. Like they've already given you money before, they're more likely to do it. But I think that's such a cool angle too, with just having like a warm lead list, because we have for my email list through YouTube, I think we have like 10,000 people from YouTube over the last decade. And I still don't even drip them emails.
Right.
I probably should.
You should scrub the list.
Yeah. Or just even just posting YouTube videos like to the whole list and say, hey, just uploaded a new video, like just get a couple hundred views right away. So
it makes a big difference. Those first 12 to 24 hours in the algorithm, if you get a big push, YouTube, their algorithm notices that.
Sure.
So that distribution's a huge play.
Sure. What's your kind of big picture vision with YouTube? How do you want it to play into the rest of your business?
Really, it's a personal brand play, Ryan. It's, I want to be known as kind of a top AI marketing expert, I would say, is kind of my niche there. And the more that my channel grows, the more credibility my personal brand has. Because what I've noticed about this, as my YouTube has grown, now I'm getting hit up for XYZ podcast opportunity. Now I'm getting hit up to collab with all these other creators, right? These opportunities now are starting to flood in that could lead to the next thing and lead to the next thing. And so long-term, it's a personal brand play. And I think also in the age of AI, which is why I've shifted my efforts more to help people build personal brands, it's all about trust signals, right? If I'm coming onto YouTube and doing authentic long-form videos, well, a lot of times LLMs like Google AI search or ChatGPT, they're still going to pull YouTube videos for a lot of results, and people don't realize that. And so having long-form YouTube as just kind of your content foundation just builds a ton of trust signals if you're trying to build a personal brand. And then we can talk about this too, but you can obviously leverage AI to remix and repurpose long-form videos with the transcripts and do short-form mediums like clips, social media posts, blog posts, email newsletters, etc.
Sure. Are you leveraging written media for some of your stuff? Like if you do a long form video, are you creating a blog and an email?
Oh yeah. Okay. I have an automation that every time a video is published, it triggers the automation. It watches my YouTube channel, and then it goes into social posts. It goes into an email newsletter draft, and then it also goes into short video scripts that I would then send to my clone. We haven't even talked about my clone yet, which we could probably do that here soon too.
Sure. Well, I think again, there's so many layers to it. If someone's listening and they're like a average small business owner, what do you feel like is one or two automations that would really help move the needle? Like you're not just wasting your time posting a AI generated image of a team that doesn't exist.
Yeah, for sure. I would say first and foremost, before you get down the world of automations, I would audit what are some tasks that you have that you just dread that are super important though. Is it data entry? Is it, inbound leads and qualifying leads and following up? So I would say those two things first for most small businesses actually is to do with qualifying leads and lead gen. So when someone contacts you via an email form or a phone call, what is the next step? Because the reality is, Ryan, most businesses, and you probably know this too, working with clients and whatever in the past and current, when a lead comes in, it falls through the cracks if they don't follow up with them. There's no system in place where, hey, we didn't follow up, we'll send you an email 3 days later. Still no follow-up 5 days later. Or SMS text message too is another part of that. So I would say lead follow-ups is a good automation to start with. And I would also say data entry too. So there's automations out there that can automatically update Google Sheets, tracking data from different sources and whatnot. So I would say those two of lead follow-ups and data entry probably are applicable for most small businesses.
Sure. Well, I would say like in my world, it's looking at redundant tasks you keep doing over and over again. Like how can I speed this up? Like we have a client that we manage. We don't do this for most of our other clients, but we produce all their content and then we post it for them. We have a platform that does the automated posting because there's 30 platforms for each. I mean, there's different locations for each,
right.
For Facebook, Instagram, what have you. To manually post those things would be terrible. So having a software that pushes it out. Or things like for our podcast here for Rhymes with Odd, people probably noticed we've actually published the same clip at the same time on all platforms. Well, we use repurpose.io for that because you can do an automation, plug it in. Not necessarily like AI, it might be considered that, but it's a software, it's automation software. Yeah. It's like figuring out tools that will help speed that up. But even in a more like applicable example, like my wife was doing a business plan recently and a bank needed to approve an actual business plan. She'd never written one before. She's a hairstylist and went to business school like I
haven't
did.
Either. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, how do you do this? So she had a template for how this was going to go. She'd spent like 3-4 hours on this thing, was about to give up on it, like could not figure it out. And I wasn't going to help her because I'm like, you got to figure this out on your own. And then she's like, wait, I could throw this into like ChatGPT or something and just have them format it for me. I have the meat. I just need it like in a way that reads well. Threw it in there, like literally 3-4 prompts later. She's like, holy crap, this looks so much better. Like it's cleaned up. It's spoken to, persuade a banker. Why would a banker want to know? Like they want to know foot traffic or how many cars per day or
right.
Average income of the area within a 5-mile radius, like things that matter to them.
I love that. The light bulb went off for her.
Yeah. So then she's just like, holy cow. So then she started doing that. And then she's like, oh my gosh, what else could I do? Obviously you don't just copy and paste and rip it out, but
right.
it gets you that extra 30-40% of the way where you hit that mental block. Like I'm just going to give up on it or have to have help or hire someone to help me. Some of those things are kind of nice too.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I have a social media automation that automatically posts on TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, Twitter, LinkedIn, I think Facebook, whatever my relevant platforms are.
You on Pinterest? You on Pinterest here?
I'm not on Pinterest, no.
Could be a good
I could
platform.
be, yeah. But essentially, I have my own automation on social media where, And it's funny to bring up the agents thing again, because I've fiddled around with running an agent for this. But what I've always noticed about this, and agentic technology is getting better, don't get me wrong, there is still margin for error. When you're leaving things to an agent, they're not going to say things that you always want to say with the hooks or whatever else, or the images might be lower quality. Yes, you can add guardrails, but there are still opportunities for hallucinations. And so with me, I have a system where I use ChatGPT agent mode. It automatically scans my Google Sheet when I send it the public link, and it'll come up with these captions based on the titles of these images and short clips that I have. And I have a whole editor overseas in Bangladesh that automatically repurposes my long form into short clips. So I have a whole system that's probably too elaborate for me to explain in clarity on this podcast, if I'm being honest. But yeah, social media is something that I automate every single day at 8 a.m. across all platforms.
Sure. Well, I feel like you really got to drink your own Kool-Aid, right? You can't be an AI thought leader if you're not actually doing the stuff, you know?
You can. That's half the people out there.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I always say it's like buying a suit from a guy in a t-shirt and jeans. Like you gotta be able to own it. You know, if you're gonna sell luxury cars, you better drive one. You know, one of those deals.
Yeah.
So, as you're kind of building out some of these platforms and things, what have been some of your like go-to platforms that do the most in terms of percentage of all the tasks you're doing? Is it like Claude? Is it GPT? Is it Gemini? What are some of your favorite platforms you use?
This probably will change by the next time we talk. Sure. But yeah, ChatGPT Plus, I've kind of stuck with that ever since it rolled out. And to be honest with you, I always tell people, Ryan, like, they're like, what AI tool should I use? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just start with a $20 a month ChatGPT Plus subscription and then go from there, because there's all these other niche tools that you can get into that are shiny, but just start there. The other big two that are in comparison to ChatGPT Plus are Claude Pro. So I bought them on an annual plan. I just like Claude Sonnet 4.5's writing style for my emails. I've just found, again, I'm a quality freak, so I've just found that those are better than what GPT-5 gets me. Google Gemini Advanced, that's another $20 a month subscription, gets you access to VO3, Gemini 2.5 Pro, and all the other fun stuff there. But in addition to those, I do have Perplexity. I think it's for free now. I have something that I got Perplexity Pro like free for a year for AI research. I don't use Opus Clip anymore. I have an editor that I found I actually hired that out to for higher quality, and it's just more efficient that way. I use HeyGen to create an AI avatar of myself. I use 11 Labs, which is an AI audio generator, to create a professional voice clone of myself. So HeyGen and 11 Labs kind of pair together to create my clone.
Because all your social clips are AI generated, right?
Most of them, unless it's from a long form interview that I do with someone on my YouTube, it's all my clone, which is about 90% of them.
Very cool.
Yeah, and so I use those. I use Blatato. That is an AI content tool owned by a founder named Sabrina Romanoff. I would recommend anyone listening to look her up. She is like one of the few people that's the real deal in the AI SaaS world that I've come to find out. Got to know her pretty well. I use that to automate my social media. And then the actual automation platform that I use is make.com, formerly Integrament, alternatives or Zapier, NADN. I was actually at an event with NADN in New York, and they were throwing all this shade at Zapier and make.com. So I think for most people, for beginners, I would recommend starting with make.com. It's just more user-friendly, easier to understand. And then once you start feeling comfortable, NADN is kind of the big boy automation platform, I would call it.
That's cool. What's been like one of the most interesting opportunities you've had? You mentioned new opportunities come here and there. Like we had went down to an event down in Jacksonville for a bioremediation company when you were kind of getting this started. What's been kind of the most interesting thing that's come up for an opportunity for you? Yeah,
this is a really interesting story. So about a month ago, I was in New York City at NADN's Agentic Arena event. So they hosted the first ever AI agent game show. Think of like esports, but it's two people battling it out and creating AI agents and passing evaluation tests. Kind of a nerdy thing.
Sure.
But the two creators were Nate Herkelman. He goes by Nate Herc. He is one of the fastest growing YouTubers in the automation space. So you think my growth is impressive. In about a year, he's at 330 some thousand subscribers. Okay. He caught on the agents and NADN train right when the Google Trends started going up on hockey stick, and he was kind of the first player there. And then Jack Roberts, who funny enough, I'm interviewing tomorrow on my channel, they kind of battled it out in this thing. So that was a really, really cool opportunity for me to network with some of the top players in the AI automation space. Sabrina Romanoff was there, NADN CEO, and the executive team was there. But I got to have dinner with them that night after the event and really kind of pick their brain on their YouTube strategy. And these guys are close with Alex Hormozi. I mean, they have some of the top school communities in the world. So they've met him. They've had Hormozi roast their communities and their YouTube channels, which is really cool. And so just kind of getting into this network now of all these big time people in the AI automation space on YouTube, I would say that has really changed a lot for me.
Sure. Has it changed your outlook on how big this could be or where you want to take it, and kind of what the outlook is for you longer term?
Yeah, it's definitely opened my eyes to, all the opportunities out there, not only with school, but like I said, creating this AI authority accelerator service, right? I was talking to them about this and they thought that was a good idea. And some of these other YouTube videos that they were creating and just some of the ideas that I have with master classes and how to go from where I'm at right now with not only the community, but just the overall YouTube strategy. It's just really interesting to hear their perspectives on things.
Sure. Well, and YouTube's such a different beast compared to other social platforms. You talk about not everyone, most people listening and be like, oh, it'd be great to have 100,000 Instagram followers. But the amount of people that have millions of followers on other platforms.
You just buy them too.
Yeah. Or that they don't engage. They're not real people. Talk to me about kind of the power of a YouTube subscriber and in terms of buying power and what that means for you in your business.
Yeah. So, let me just say this first too, Ryan, is that a lot of people, I would always encourage you, if you find this YouTuber who's got 100-some thousand plus subscribers, I would always look at their total views on the about page and look at how many views they're getting on their recent videos, because a lot of people are frauds, unfortunately. They buy subscribers, they fake their way to the top and try to sell you some consulting or course. So I would say that first. But the power of YouTube is honestly crazy, because what I've found with my YouTube subscribers, I've noticed that the quality of one YouTube subscriber immediately surpasses the quality of a TikTok subscriber or an Instagram subscriber. And if you think about it, it really makes sense, because if someone's giving you their time to watch long form content versus a 60-second clip on TikTok or a 60-second clip on Instagram, what is the intent of that? And a lot of people also getting into my YouTube ecosystem, they came from intent. They were searching for a keyword and I happened to be that solution to whatever the keyword is that they were searching. So they already had intent there to start with, versus on TikTok or Instagram, a lot of it is interest based. If you're just scrolling and you happen to come across this funny video or this cool creator and you follow them, there really wasn't an intent there, if you know what I'm throwing down there before, versus the YouTube thing. But yeah, I just think the intent of a YouTube subscriber is just so much more powerful than a lot of other platforms.
For sure. It's interesting too. A lot of times on LinkedIn, you'll I would say bash on some of the people in the industry, which rightfully so. There's a lot of people. What are some of the biggest things that are just grinding your gears when it comes to people that claim to be experts in this industry compared to somebody that's actually doing the real work?
Yeah, like I just mentioned, a lot of people will pay their way to the top. They'll buy subscribers, they'll buy views, they'll pay for their way on Forbes Advisor and say that they were featured in Forbes. And the issue is, Ryan, is that most people don't understand how any of this stuff works. They think oh my God, so-and-so was in Forbes, he must be extremely credible. He's got 100,000 YouTube subscribers, he must be extremely credible. And so but I would say the latest one that's grinded my gears, I actually posted about it today, are all these people that are now AEO, GEO, LLMO experts, AI search, all these insert acronym. I have an SEO background, of course, too. And it's all these people that are using rage bait hooks saying SEO is dead. I saw one, I got into it with this guy the other day, and I usually don't do this, but he's like, OpenAI just dropped this 10-minute demo and SEO is over. Oh my God. And I'm like, oh wow, is it? And I went over and just kind of bashed him in the comments a little bit. And it's just this rage bait, GEO, AEO, and they're attracting all these big time executives that think they're behind and they're clueless and they're scared. So they hire these GEO experts who don't necessarily know anything. It's all snake oil, because the reality is, in order to have good GEO, AEO, insert acronym, you still have to have fundamentals of SEO in place. And no one's ever going to talk about that because it's not shiny, it's not new, and it doesn't sell. And so that would be my biggest beef lately, especially on LinkedIn.
Sure. Well, and every conference we've gone to that we were filming for or something, every single session's about AI. But some of the people they have in that are speakers, sometimes we're filming it, so I'm watching it, listening to it. I'm like, this guy doesn't know anything. He's just, and what the hell they pay this guy to come here and talk about for or whatever. It's it's just kind of like you said, if it's the shiny thing that I think a lot of people are doing, but it's really the granular approach of which industry is it? How does it actually apply? Are there, industries that can or can't do it? In your kind of experience, has there been any industries or spaces in terms of jobs that probably should avoid using AI, or do you feel like it can be used in every single industry?
Anything where compliance is involved. So insurance, legal, especially on the content creation side of things. I haven't heard any stories in particular. I've heard some online, but not that I've seen in person. But that can only spiral backwards if you're just relying on an automation or an AI agent to pump out content, doesn't pass compliance. Well, now you're going to be in all sorts of legal issues and whatnot. So anything that's heavily regulated, I would pull up a red flag before I just spin up an AI agent or hire some, AI expert to do stuff for me.
Sure. No, I think that's great. We'll take a break here, do a couple quick lightning round questions. I know we already did one with you last time, but got to keep the consistency here of the flow of the show. In your experience, what do you think is like your 3 favorite free AI tools right now?
3 favorite. So I would say, here's a hot take for you. I think the ChatGPT free version is actually a bad product. I think they hide a lot of features they don't make accessible a lot of features in free versus paid. The usage is terrible. You don't have control over what GPT-5 model you're using. The images are terrible. You don't have agent mode. Like there's all sorts of these features they're not allowing you in free version. So that's my hot take, is that it's a bad tool. But for free tools, I would say one that's really slept on is Google's AI Studio. Okay. And within Google AI Studio, you can generate images. I think you can generate some videos for free. One thing that I do a lot in there is actually screen share. So they have a Gemini-powered screen sharing agent where if I want to share my screen and I'm stuck on an automation, I've done this several times, say, hey, Gemini, what is this node? Or why isn't this working? What is the error? And it'll use AI to figure out, okay, you actually need to do this or do that. So it's like a real-time AI screen sharing feature. And you can also build apps inside Google AI Studio too through the whole vibe coding thing, but we don't need to dive into that. Google AI Studio is definitely a big one. I would say, the free version of Perplexity is very good. The free version of Claude is very good. There's a lot of usage limitations with Claude though as well. Gemini is pretty good in addition to AI Studio. I would recommend just starting there.
Sure. No, I love those. I know for us, we use like Adobe, is it Firefly, I believe?
The image generator.
Yeah. A lot of times for scripts, we would go and be like, oh, one specific one was like, I need a picture of a Hispanic woman crying next to a motorcycle and car accident with police sirens, and it would like spit that out. Yeah. And I was like, I would have to like go Google and try to find an image from Google search, like so crazy, just generate it and like show a client, like, oh, this is like kind of what we're looking to do. So that's cool. What is one thing you like to do to unwind after a long day? You've been digging into some of your AI stuff. You need to relax. What's something to unwind?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, this sounds really boring, but going to the sauna. I mean, the sauna is really just my ultimate detox. I throw some meditation music in and I try my very best to tune out, because I'll be honest with you, Ryan, like I'm in the AI YouTube world. I feel like I'm behind. I pull up YouTube and there's a new update and there's 10 creators that are already talking about it. And now psychologically, I'm like, oh my God, I got to get a video out. I'm behind. And so the sauna with meditation music tunes out all of that noise.
Sure. What is one KPI of a thriving YouTube channel that most people don't think about?
One KPI of a thriving, I would say retention is a big one. I listened to Pat Flynn is. Mm-hmm. I was at Kit's conference in Boise in June, and the whole presentation was about retention. He grew a Pokemon channel called, I think it's Deep Pocket Monster and Short Pocket Monster. I don't know if you're familiar with these. And his whole strategy was retention. He blew up from shorts, and you've probably heard the saying on all the short videos that should I open it or should I keep it sealed? And it's this little AI voice that he created. And the power of that is when someone hears that and he's about to open a pack, well, now you got to stay, Ryan, because what is he going to get that rare card? Is it going to be a bust? And so he talked about just the power of retention and how that can, seriously grow a channel.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's Pat's an interesting guy. I was following his stuff from How to Build Lead Lists a decade ago when he's been posting things and just trying to get things out there, which is always good. What do you feel like is kind of the biggest risk when it comes to social media in the days of AI generated content? What are some of those risks on social media with those?
The risks, I would say, is falling into the trap of thinking AI slop moves the needle. Just trying to, like you said, trying to check a box to make sure that we have a post a day or 5 posts a week and not really caring about what the quality of those posts are. But as long as we posted, Ryan, we can check that off of our list because we did something. But it's just not falling into this AI slop hype of thinking that, oh, it's just going to move the needle because I can post every day using AI. That's not the reality.
No, that's great. Okay, you're out of the lightning round now. You can take a breath. Another thing I wanted to kind of touch on, I think this will be really applicable to folks that are listening in, is the content creation side. So you've mentioned like you're not a videographer, photographer, graphic designer, website you're just the SEO guy that's kind of figuring this out. Talk to me about how you go through that progression of just kind of being okay with not having everything perfect and just hitting record to create this content and do things that it might not be perfect, but you're wanting to get things out and just be relevant to people and out there for people.
Yeah, the old saying is published is better than perfect, right? And so, yes, I have to do a lot of takes. I can't do a video on one take and then it's done. I mean, I'm probably averaging 10 to 15 takes a video, where I'm deleting files and going back and redoing it. But it's really just kind of overcoming this who cares mentality, right? What is the worst thing that's going to happen if I, go in and make a video? Oh my God, someone in the comments might say that my mic was too loud, which was the case, honestly, a few days ago. Or, I had one guy call out how my video wasn't in 4K and he needs to watch it in 4K. And I'm just like, at the end of the day, those people don't matter because they're not there to have whatever their problem is that they're trying to solve, which is the topic of whatever the video is that I made. So it's really just overcoming that mental barrier of who cares, because no one really cares at the end of the day. And the opportunities that come from just pulling through and publishing something that's high quality, authentic, pay dividends in the long term. There's no doubt about it.
For sure. Well, I think you mentioned this earlier, being like, how would I even say this? Not grabbing the low-hanging fruit. I'm sure you get hit up daily from AI platforms that want to pay you a bunch of money to make a video to promote their product. There's people that I have even in my world that one of the guys, I won't say his name, but he's a videographer, and his whole Instagram and all of his social media used to be focused on like helping creators build a business, but he realized how much money was in promoting AI stuff, and he just does like what do you call it? Like partnership posts on Instagram. He was saying like this year he's made over $300,000 this year on paid advertising for these companies to just take whatever their platform is, read a script, make it look really professional, and that's kind of how he's changed his persona. What's kind of your angle on that and avoiding some of those I would say snake oil programs or taking the money, right?
Yeah, well, the thing is I get blown up, I would say on average, probably 10 emails a day I see in my inbox are from these AI SaaS tools wondering if I can do a review or some sort of sponsorship. And, if you're a new creator, that seems very shiny, right? Someone wants to pay me $500, sometimes even $1,000 for a review video plus affiliate commission, but you really need to be cautious there, because when you're trying to build an audience, you do not want to sacrifice short-term reputation for short-term cash, or long-term reputation for short-term cash. And that's kind of my mentality, is that my reputation to me is more valuable than making a promotional video of a product that I've never heard of, but someone's going to pay me $500 or $1,000 just to get that short-term cash. And so, that's what my philosophy is on the whole thing, is I value long-term reputation that you can sell in other ways, whether it's an agency, through lead gen, through, maybe other affiliates that you're actually products of you're using versus just some one-off products. But yeah, I value long-term reputation more than just these short-term cash grabs.
I love it. In terms of your business mix, I mean, you mentioned we have Thrive on 5 and then all the other stuff that you're doing. How does all this play into that in terms of like percentage of income? Are you to the point now where this is like making way more than your day job or your agency, or are you to the point where this will always be a side hustle just to kind of keep sharp with the tools?
Yeah, someone just asked me, I'm probably like 75-25. So most of my income is coming from the agency side still, 75-70%-ish.
Sure.
And the other 25 to 30% is all from YouTube. And that includes ads, affiliates, sponsorships, community, that sort of thing. Now, I will say there's a caveat there. I have had several leads come through my YouTube channel where a few of those have panned out to some sort of agency offering that I have. So I don't know how you would technically bucket those, but that's where I see this going. It's using the YouTube as kind of a lead gen machine for my agency on the back end. On all the other stuff, I just look at it as a cherry on top.
Sure. No, I love that. And I think it's interesting because when I was younger and my business wasn't as big as it is now, I used to really dabble a lot more in, I would say, personal content creation because I had the time to, or the available bandwidth to be like, oh, I'm going to like put a YouTube video out every week and do social media every day and all the stuff. And I still try to keep up with that stuff. But for me, it was like the business took off to do, client work. And I was like, well, crap, now I have to kind of backseat this stuff, where we kind of have our slower seasons like in the winter usually. So now we're starting to come down where it's like, oh yeah, I can like do YouTube again. So just yesterday we shot 4 YouTube videos and I did, I think 10 shorts. Like,
wow,
I just wanted to do them. So I went and walked around the block and just kept making talking head videos to my phone, change a shirt, go out and do another one. Like, so Evan, our editor, was like, where'd you go for an hour? I was like, just walk around the block making Instagram videos and stuff. So I think it's interesting seeing how it works into your workflow, because especially as you get bigger with your audience and your offers and stuff, it's probably going to take more time. But knowing you, I'm sure you're implementing a lot of AI automation to help double the output for half the time. So talk me through kind of where's the line for you when you're like, oh crap, I need to go in all in
Yeah.
as an influencer full time because this is taking too much of my time?
That's a good question. I always, I just dealt with this the other day, honestly. Like, do I make a video on this? Do I not? Right? The thing that I always come back to is, does this move the needle in the big picture? And oftentimes it's no. You have all these YouTubers that spin up every single update video, every single news video, and that might work for them. They have bigger channels, they're making more ad revenue and affiliates and whatnot. But for me, that would be kind of useless because A, that's not the audience that I want to attract, is the AI news, AI hype people. And B, there's no opportunity really to make money there. It's just a subscriber grab play. You're not making a ton of money from YouTube ads. And so for me, I always look at it as, will this long form video move the needle in the big picture somehow, some way? And so a lot of that has been, best AI tools for marketing. That's a big affiliate play. That's had some good people come into my ecosystem. A lot of it is just like high quality, long form content that is dedicated to your ICP. I think that's a very important disclaimer, is that you don't just want to shotgun blast all these AI, videos and tools and all these random things. You have to have a narrowed down ICP of who your audience is. And for me, it's executives, founders, and creators. And I struggled with this for a long time, Ryan, when I was first building this channel, because I just wanted subscribers. I just wanted views. But now I'm starting to realize, okay, I would rather take 1,000 views on a video that's purely for my ICP versus, 20,000 views from just these random people that aren't going to convert to anything.
Right. And that's the struggle we've been having too with the podcast, for example, where it's a slow slug, but once you get past like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 subscribers, you start getting into the point where it makes sense. Because you see some of these podcasters that think of like Stephen Bartlett with Diary of a CEO, or something like Mel Robbins, or some of these other people that they're making multiple six figures just from the podcast on YouTube, but it took so long to get there, type of thing. But I think with all those people, and your channel included as well, like once you really clarify like who's it for, what's the purpose, like knowing exactly who that audience is, I think helps a lot. Because then when someone comes and finds your channel and you're like, hi, this is the channel for XYZ that want to learn ABC. Right. It's like, oh, I'm that person. I found my place. Like, this is the right place,
And that's where a lot of creators fail, Ryan. I've noticed is that they're just throwing content at the wall with day in the life and vlogs and all these cool, shiny things. They just want the numbers. Yeah. They want the vanity metrics. They're not thinking about who is watching this. What is the quality of this? How do I take these people into my own ecosystem, into emails? They just want the views and the vanity metrics. And that is a trap that you cannot fall into as a creator long-term.
For sure. And you see people like, I feel like a lot of times people they'll just do copycat content because they see it working for a celebrity or an influencer that's already got an audience, where it's like, oh, well, this person did that. Like the average Joe doing like a get ready with me that has nothing interesting or anything to say. They're just like, well, I saw Alex Earl do this and she has like 20 million followers, so I'll just do it too. It's like, okay, well, do you even like makeup? What are you doing this for? Like that, that kind of those questions you need to ask a little bit. Because I know like for me, I've been going through that with my own content of like I would call it a renaissance, where it used to be all about starting a video business, but now I've been talking about that for a decade, where I'm kind of just like tired of talking about it. I'm happy to help people if they want, but it's like now I've kind of decided, okay, I want to take that audience and do my mastermind group once a year, which I'm starting to promote here in a couple of weeks, of like getting 5 to 15 guys together or girls that are in the same world and like coaching them one-on-one to help there. Cause it's like more specific questions. It's not just like how do you price a project, or all the videos that I've done a million times over. So I think helping that or doing that does help as well.
And I like you said the get ready with me example with the Alex Earl or whatever. And it's like, I always tell people too, most people are better off becoming educational content creators. There's a big difference between that and becoming an entertainer. And the reality is, unless you're physically attractive or you have a really good personality that people want to, spend their time watching you, you're not going to do very well as an entertainer. And so I have neither of those, Ryan. That's kind of why I defaulted to an educator, talking about things that A, people are searching for, B, that I understand. So the whole educator versus entertainer, I think that needs to be something you think about early on too.
Sure. Well, and even the entertainers, it's look at Mr. Beast, for example. It's like you do one stunt, gets a whole bunch of attention. Now, how can I outdo the last thing? And you start getting into a situation like Logan Paul did a couple of years ago, which people ironically forget about, like the Suicide Forest thing, where he almost tanked his entire career because he kept trying to outdo his last video, and then went and upset half the world and almost lost his entire everything. So there's a lot of people that it's like the trip to the bottom. And then it's like kind of selling your soul a little bit too, where we've had Taylor Hayride on, who was a classmate of mine at college. Him and his girlfriend had a fitness channel that they would do, and realized, if I let my girlfriend walk by with her butt out for 2 seconds in the first shot, they'll get attention, get a bunch of views. And he ended up deleting all of his content because he was like, this is not fulfilling me. It's literally just like making me feel terrible about myself. Like, we're starting from scratch. And now they have a van life channel, and his YouTube's blown up. He quit his job. He does van life content full time. They travel in the West, and they're in the mountains and living out of a van and stuff like that.
Van life. That's kind of a mix of, I would say, educational and entertaining, because you're doing entertaining content in the van, but then you're also probably doing like, here's how we made our meal. Here's how we set up the internet. So that's kind of an interesting niche.
Yeah, it's more like, I would say, documenting, like just living their life, documenting what they're doing. Because I think that's really where I've shifted my content to, is like documenting my business journey, like starting to hire a team and get a bigger lease space and starting buying vehicles and more gear and stuff. Because it's like, one, it's more of a time capsule for me to look back years from now, because I'll look back at YouTube videos. I'm like, holy crap, like life's so different now.
I know.
But also like helping other people that are along that path, that are like 1 or 2 steps behind me, of like, how can they get where I'm at, type of thing too. Because I always feel like if you're just talking about your own life, it's a lot easier than being like, I'm the expert in ABC topic, and then you got all the know-it-all people, the encyclopedias that are in there, and trying to figure out kind of, you won't always be right, but if you can always be right if you're talking about your own experience. So,
and that's my thing too, is even in my community and my YouTube, I don't try to, I know people look at me as the expert or whatever, but I always am transparent to, I don't know the answers to everything. This stuff's changing so quick. Maybe I messed up, but also that ties back into the authenticity piece, where I would almost rather slip up 1 or 2 times versus having an AI clone that's never going to slip up. Because I think when people do these little slip ups, I think that's another way to stand out in an AI first world, funny enough. Who would ever guess that?
Sure. Well, I think it's again, the authenticity will always win out. I know it with my own channel. I've had this happen where I meet people out in the wild, in IRL, and they're like, oh, you're exactly like you are online. I'm like,
that's how it should be.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no way you want to try to be someone else or whatever. And that's when you see celebrities getting in a bad spot, because people disassociate who they were in a movie or a TV show as their character, as their real life. I always think of like Mark Wahlberg, like he's a really quiet, soft-spoken guy. In all of his movies, he's always out of breath and yelling. He's like, hey man, how you doing? Like, you just, and then you see him in real life, you're just like, hey, like you're just normal guy. So.
And that's the thing too. And there's one guy, I haven't met him in real life, but I wanted to bring this up too. His name's Julian Goldie. Have you heard of him? He's big in the SEO world. And let me just say this first. I respect his systems. I mean, the systems that this guy has are unbelievable. But if you pull up his YouTube channel, he's posting 5 long form videos a day on every AI update. He's got clickbait thumbnails with the rockets and the skulls and the graph going down and his face pointing. He's got, this is insane. Oh my God, this is going to change everything. And like, I look at that and I hate it with a passion, because that is a net negative for society, in my opinion. Anyone who consumes that is not going to do anything with it, and they're going to be scared, and that doesn't move the needle anyway, except for him. He's the only one who benefits from that, from all the views and the leads and whatnot. But the average consumer takes nothing beneficial away from that. But I have to respect his systems, because he literally is on top of every single AI update with a clickbait video, ranking high, clickbait thumbnail, and he's just capitalizing off of all the hype.
Sure. No, I totally agree. There's people in every industry like that. You see them a lot with entertainers. Again, they're just chasing the clickbait, trying to be the most popular person. But I think authenticity will definitely win out, but also, what are you trying to leave the world as? Like, are you trying to be known for something or help people? I think people just post purely chasing vanity metrics. It's like,
it's so empty, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I was telling you earlier, pre-recording too, we've had a couple clips kind of go viral for us on the TikTok account for this podcast. And it's always just people rage baiting or angrily arguing in the comments. And I'm like, man, I really wish it was one of like the better interview clips that like someone's life story that could change something, but it's got to be the anger and the clickbait, So
speaking of rage bait and AI video, I wanted to bring this up too. One trend that I'm seeing right now on Instagram and TikTok, and this will probably change by the time this episode comes out and whatnot, but it's these AI controversial situations. You have a fake AI generated video of someone in an airplane and they're going at it with a flight attendant, or a fake court case, or, oh my God, my husband or wife, I just caught them cheating. Here's the cam footage. And all these comments and these clips blow up, and these people are like, how could he do that? How could he say that? He needs to go. And I'm like, this is AI. Yeah. And people believe this stuff, and it's blowing up because it's getting engaged. There's rage bait. And so I think that's setting a very dangerous precedent when there's all these AI like controversial related videos that are going viral everywhere.
Sure. Well, and then the one that popped off for Sora too, this week, at least this episode will go out Monday. So like in a couple days, but one of them was Stephen Hawking doing backflips on the half pipe or whatever.
I've seen those.
Super convincing. Like, and it's like kind of crappy cell phone video is the quality, which again makes it even more convincing. So it's like, oh, okay. And again, like it could have fooled me there for a while until he started doing the flips. I'm like, okay, like some of these things could really get people in trouble. And you think about people running for office, if there's leaked footage. I mean, people have been doing deep fakes with the Tom Cruise guy. If you get a voice actor or someone that can copy the mannerisms or whatever, or superimposing faces and stuff, it's becoming a lot more achievable and not having to have a Hollywood budget to do it, where you see like stunt people having their face replaced, but you have to pay an After Effects master to do it, like $30,000 to do it for a movie. I
don't know if you've dive into Sora 2 yet. I just got access a few days ago, but you can create a cameo of yourself and you can actually make it publicly available. I haven't done that, so I'm the only one who can generate myself, but Sam Altman, all these OpenAI people and other people who make it available to everyone, I could create a video right now in a minute of me in a boxing match with Sam Altman punching him or having him say something that he didn't say. And there's ways to remove the Sora watermark and, run ads behind it, potentially there's just so many negative implications that can come from things like this.
What do you feel like is the biggest risk to humanity when it comes to some of this, like using AI for bad or not for good usage?
It's what we talked about earlier. It's just when people don't know what to believe, what's real and what not. And you think about how important that is in the political spectrum. You think about how important that is from just any advertisement. They said this, oh my God, it's only $1 when in reality it's $100. Or, there's just so many different misinterpretations and things that aren't real, and people question everything. And I just think the deep fakes and the AI video, we're already at the point of no return, in my opinion. We're not there yet where the average person is asking these questions. I would bet, with like the older generation who still believes a lot on radio and TV and whatnot. But give it, 5 years, that might even be generous. Give it maybe 2 or 3 years where we're going to have more people questioning things. Was this AI? Was it real? I think that is just such a serious issue that's not getting enough attention.
Well, I feel like people's BS detectors are getting hopefully more sensitive to some of these things, but it's hard anymore. Especially I talk to the older generation. They assume if it's on the news, it's accurate.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean? Oh, it was on CNN or on Fox. Like, that's real. I'm like, no, that's not. That's like propaganda at this point. Mainstream media is not trustworthy, but people that are older don't think that because they grew up, if a journalist will do the right thing. It's like, no, they won't. They're trying to get you to turn it in tomorrow.
Yeah. So it's all about the views and the ads.
Yeah, that's literally, and again, you understand, follow the money, and that'll tell you where their motives come from too. So I think that's a big piece. We talked about kind of the creator economy. How do you think some of these AI tools are going to shape the creator economy? There are obviously things that'll help, but also things that are hindering. Come to like AI generated content, people that are trying to use clip farming. What do you think is going to affect the creator economy the most when it comes to AI?
I think it's going to affect people who are too reliant on using AI to actually generate the final product, if you know what I'm saying here. It's people that are generating, high quality, authentic products or footage or whatever media that they're generating, and they're using AI to kind of assist them in that process to augment it, whether that's more efficient on the video editing side or the image editing side, and kind of using AI in that process to help them, and also repurposing, I think, is a big one for AI too. I think the creators that are leveraging AI in that regard, but they're always using long form authentic video as their foundation, I think those people will be okay. I really do, because everything stems from a high quality long form content as your strategy, because you can use AI to remix and repurpose it. It's authentic. People trust it. But those who are just trying to rely on AI for the end all be all of their production of both long form and short form and text on email and social media, I think those people are going to struggle.
Sure. Do you feel like if your audience gets big enough that you would have to get to the point where you like hire an in-house team that helps you produce everything, where you have a little studio in your house or in a little lease space or something, and you just have like, okay, the most recent topic came in, like your preset, sit down, record the video and go? Or is that not something that you're wanting to look into?
Yes and no. I already have a couple people that I 1099. So I have a video editor that does all my short form videos. And then I also have a graphic designer who does all my YouTube thumbnails. He does, just any general graphics that I need maybe on social media for the community. So I think those two people, those individuals have helped me a ton with just efficiency. Because before, and this is an important concept too, it's big in the AI world where people will think like in vibe coding, for instance. Why would I pay for that when I can just vibe code it myself? But that mentality is actually a fallacy in my opinion, because I would rather pay someone who A, is an expert in it, and B, I'm not going to waste my time trying to figure things out. That has helped me tremendously versus the old mentality that I used to have was, well, I'll just grind it out. I'll figure it out myself. I'm a solopreneur. I can do it. So you're actually going to be better off hiring people for these things that do move the needle, like video editing, graphic design, and everything that goes into my content packaging, because packaging is king in the content creation world. That's how I look at it. I think that has definitely paid dividends for me. It's just outsourcing those things.
Sure. I think it's interesting too, just hearing like the guy that's really into AI is like also like, hey, we need to have a human do this because it's better, faster, more efficient. They're more skilled. It's less time. I think that's a huge piece to it as well. We also mentioned your kind of SEM world, your background in SEO. How do you feel like AI is going to either help or hurt search engine optimization, but also running ads on the platforms like Google and other places like that?
I always look at from the ad side, Alphabet Inc., who owns Google. I believe their total revenue from ads across all their platforms. So think Google, think shopping, think YouTube. It's about 60 or 70% of their total revenue. And I could be wrong. I checked maybe a year or two ago, but it's probably not far off from that. So when I think about that, there is no way that they are going to sacrifice that if that is their biggest revenue generator. And ChatGPT or OpenAI, they've talked about how next year they're going to start rolling out search ads within the free plan of ChatGPT. So I actually think paid ads are going to become more valuable. And this might be a hot take to some people too, but the AI search, if you're doing top of funnel informational content, those days are over. AI search and LLMs, they're just eating up those responses with AI overviews and responses in ChatGPT. Bottom funnel stuff, local SEO is still alive and well. YouTube SEO is still alive and well. But anything top of funnel informational, I would not waste time on unless you're doing it on YouTube, I would say, as a caveat there. But I do think paid ads actually might become more valuable as time goes on.
That's super interesting take, though. You think about all the people that put so much of their personal information into a ChatGPT or Claude, and then now, they're looking up
valuable.
You think about recipes. Okay, like this is a prompt we've done before of like, okay, here's my budget for groceries this week. Here's how many meals I need to make. Here's the nutritional breakup or makeup of what it is. Here's some of our favorite foods. Provide me a grocery list with, ingredients list and make sure it's under this amount of money at this store. Like kind of a really thick prompt, but it does it. And it's like you start thinking about, hey, maybe Walmart or Hy-Vee or Fairway would want to get in on that and know, hey, every week you're ordering this Ben's rice, Uncle Ben's rice is on sale this week, 30% off. Come in and get it. Like that information's in there. Or if they keep prompting with other things, then it's like, oh, you can fully align that ad. Because I always think that's really when lightning's in a bottle. Like I would say Facebook ads, like 2010 to 2015-ish was kind of the like golden age because they had all your information.
And they still work in a lot of industries.
Yeah, and all the, all the ads are relevant, right? I was getting ads about things that were super relevant to me. I'm like, oh man, they feel like they know me. Because they do. Because I put every freaking interest that I have on my Facebook profile at the time. So that's kind of how it goes.
Something else that's really interesting. Are you familiar with MCP or Model Context Protocol? Mm-hmm. Essentially is where it's kind of like API, but essentially you can integrate all these apps within your ChatGPT account. So think Gmail, Teams, Dropbox, Notion, etc. Well, think about that, right? I mean, if people start integrating their Gmail accounts and their Google Drive accounts with ChatGPT, that's more data that they can send to advertisers. I mean, that is honestly a scary, scary world when you talk about data privacy too. I think a lot of people aren't thinking about that side of it. I would never integrate my Gmail account with ChatGPT. That's just me personally, but a lot of people will. And so when you have MCP in the mix now within ChatGPT, where you can connect with thousands of different applications and they're getting data synced from all these apps into ChatGPT, well, now they just became way more valuable for advertisers now. So again, back to the paid ads conversation, I don't see how that's going to go away and not just become more valuable.
Sure. Well, and I think another piece I wanted to tie in was the wearable technology and some of the space race that is wearable technology. You talk about like Meta Ray-Ban glasses that have now these like AR things, but then it has a camera on your vision. Like now you're giving potentially that information to Facebook that could then use it for other things. Where do you feel like some of the line gets crossed where, okay, this is probably a little bit too much, and for the trade-off for convenience, for data privacy, so many people just lean to convenience, like I'll give you all my information, and it's like, at what point do we need to kind of like reevaluate that?
It just comes down to personal preference, honestly, Ryan. If someone's willing to wear Meta Ray-Bans or, I mean, heck, even this Apple Watch I'm wearing is probably listening to me, somehow, some way. I actually met a guy at Kit's conference again. He was wearing this pendant and it would record all the things that he said and other people were talking to him throughout the day. And at every morning or at the end of the night, I can't remember what time frame, it would send him a bulleted email list of, hey, these were the most important takeaways from your day-to-day. And then it would also provide potential action items based on those takeaways. So I mean, he's willing to sign up for that. I think if you're willing to sign up for that, then you deserve whatever comes your way.
Sure. No, I totally agree. I think the big piece too is like I have a pair of those Meta Ray-Bans, but we use them for behind the scenes, and I don't have the newest ones that have the AI built into it or the wrist attention where you can like tap your fingers and scroll Instagram while you're talking to your mom at the end of the day because you don't want to talk to her anymore. I just have the ones that have the camera, and then there's the AI piece. But a lot of the onboarding, people just say yes to everything, and it was like, do you want to make it so you could literally click a button and post a picture of whatever you just took to your Instagram story? I'm like, no, like, God, no. Like, what if I accidentally hit it when I was going to the bathroom and then sent a picture of my freaking crotch to like all my Instagram followers?
Good,
like, yeah, it's like you got to have some like privacy or some extra, make it a little harder to do some of these things. So that's another reason why I don't have like Apple Pay on my phone. Because again, I'm like, I don't trust myself with an accidental or an intentional tap to pay. One tap, don't do anything else. I'm like, some of those things you need to have a couple extra steps, I feel like.
I agree. And there's a good friend of mine. He's a teacher. He's well-versed in the AI space too. He gave a story about this kid who wore Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and he actually caught him cheating on a test. I've never worn these before, so you'd have to kind of elaborate on that. But he was like taking a test and somehow looking up the answers inside his Meta Ray-Ban's glasses. And, I don't know how the teacher caught him. I mean, he's well-versed in technology. I mean, think about the teachers who aren't well-versed in technology, and you got these kids wearing pendants and Ray-Ban glasses and all these other wearables where they can leverage AI to cheat on tests. I mean, that's a bigger conversation for the educational department for sure, but that's a very, very interesting story when he told me about that.
Sure. Want to know mine? The speaker in him, I programmed it to sound like John Cena, so I have John Cena's voice in my head, which is kind of funny. But they're really not playing well together. The technology company is like, I have an Apple phone, and they don't like Apple as much because they're kind of at odds with each other. So a lot of times I'll get notified I have a text, but it won't read it to me. It can't. It's like, hey, open your phone and look. We can't read it. Or hey, text them back, and it won't do it. So I'm assuming I feel like the dangerous place will get when Apple has its own proprietary AI, and or the whole ecosystem is in there when it's like Apple owns their own thing, but they also have a social media platform, plus they have the AI and the wearable technology, and they have all this data. It's like, oh man, that's the
biggest moat in the AI world is just how much data you have, and that's why I think Google is probably going to end up winning this AI space race, whatever you call it, as time goes on, because you look at how much data they have through all their platforms, through Gmail, through Drive, through YouTube, and all their mediums, not to mention the amount of data servers they have and their entire Google ecosystem. I just struggle to think, and not the talent too, to think about the talent that they have working there versus these other tech companies. I really struggle to believe that Google is going to lose this thing in the long run, unless they blow it in like self-sabotage or whistleblowers or something like that. It's very hard for me to think that someone is going to beat them long-term at this AI game.
For sure. We talk about kind of data privacy and things. Have you seen any overseas companies that have kind of come on the scene that are using it more, that are potential threats, like you said, to American? I mean, we talk about the TikTok ban and all this stuff.
The DeepSeek, is that what you're hinting at?
Yeah, some of that stuff. You see some of the oil money overseas or Asian companies are coming in that want to try to get access to American data, that type of thing. Have you seen any of that? These mediums pop up?
I have. DeepSeek was the big one earlier this year, and that shook up the stock. I mean, that shook up the stock market quite a bit when it came in. And that's another very dangerous thing that you bring up too, is that we don't even know some of these backdoor deals that these big tech companies are doing with Chinese cybersecurity firms, or all these firms based in North Korea or whatever. I don't know. I mean, they're cutting backdoor deals where if the money's there, of course they're going to sell out and do things like that. It's just the games that these people play. So I don't know any in particular, but if I had to guess and put money on it, I know there's some backdoor deals going on with people.
For sure. Kind of swinging it more positive, rounding it out here. We talked about, just the insane growth you've had in the last year or two, just on YouTube, just having all these product lines and services and just trying to give more value more to people. What is your prediction 12 months from now? How many YouTube subscribers do you have? Where's the business at in terms of helping more people? Where do you see this going?
Yeah, I did about 25,000 in 2 years. So, we could look at that as a multiplier. Hopefully a year from now, though, I would say 50,000 might be a goal. Might be ambitious. I don't know. But also too, it compounds, right? When you have 25,000, well, now more people take you seriously. More people are inclined to subscribe versus if I had 500. So getting from 500 to 1,000 is a lot harder than getting from 25,000 to 26,000 is a good way to look at it. So hopefully 50K is where I want to be at.
Sure. I love it. And then is there a reality where you just focus on AI content full time, or do you feel like you'll always be splitting your time between the agency and this stuff?
I try to figure out what moves the needle the most, drives more revenue, but also what gives me fulfillment too, right? I'll be honest with you, there are just some days where I do not want to record videos. And when those days happen, I would rather work on stuff in the agency and other things that generate revenue for my business. But I really don't want to be a full-time content creator. I'm not the biggest fan of recording videos. It is such a grind. And there's all these people that make 2-3 long form videos a day. They're doing live streams. And that just sounds so exhausting to me and something I'm not necessarily passionate about on that front. I'm passionate about kind of the after effects of it, the helping people, the people emailing me, maybe following up, they become a client. So I don't know. I don't want to go 100% content creation, but I think it always needs to be in the mix.
For sure. And I think even just comparing it to myself, it's like I enjoy doing personal content, but I don't know if I'd want to do it full time. I think it's definitely a different.
There's a lot of pressure too that people don't think about.
Well, yeah, you look at like MKA, or I can't even say his name, Marcus Brownlee.
Oh yeah,
MKA. Oh my gosh, HD. I can't say his
I know
channel.
What you're talking about. Yeah,
Evan helped me put a little thing on the bottom here. Put a link to his channel. But he's a huge tech YouTuber. Yeah. He has a whole team that just does tech content. It's like that's kind of the whole piece. So there's people that lean into that. I think having a mix helps though, just for your sanity, right? You can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But when you're married to the YouTube comments and people are nasty and mean, it can kind of eat away at your soul a little bit. So
there's just so much pressure. Matt Wolf, who's a big AI YouTuber, he talked about this the other day where he said people that aren't in the content creation world full time, they do not understand the immense pressure, whether that's actual pressure from people saying you or just internal pressure that you give yourself where I didn't get a video out last week, Ryan. Oh my God, I need to get out a video this week or people are going to unsubscribe or they're not going to follow me and chase someone else to follow. So there's all these pressures that mount to both internally and maybe a few externally.
Sure. Well, and even for this podcast, we were running out of episodes. So thank you so much for coming in and being a guest to come in on short notice. Because even for our small audience, I'm like, I just want to make sure that there's some consistency of like every Monday morning you can expect a new episode from Rhymes with Odd on your morning commute on Monday when you're dreading going into the weeks or work week. So it's like trying to just stay consistent, I feel like is a huge struggle for most people that are creating. And
consistency always wins in the long run. And that's where I would argue 90 to 95% of people drop off is they're just not consistent. I mean, you could be a far worse, I'm living proof of this. I'm a far worse content creator than a lot of other people out there, but I've stuck with it for over 2 years now every week. And my channel's growing and a lot of other people that might be more talented than me, their channel's not growing, their revenue's not growing, right? So consistency is just a huge part of it.
For sure. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for your time. Where can people go if they're like wanting to kind of scratch that itch or learn a little bit more about AI before they go down the whole rabbit hole of all your service offerings? What are some top of funnel stuff you guys have for them?
Yeah, I would just look me up, Ryan Dozer on YouTube and look up my popular videos. That's a really good place to start. And then also ryandozer.com. My website's about done. And hopefully it'll be done by the time this podcast is released. I would say those two places are probably good.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and we'll make sure to put a link below to the AI I would say school community.
Yeah, that too.
We can put that in there. I know I'm in there. There's a lot of people kind of buzzing around at different things. It's a lot. Yeah. It's always good to have people that know more than you do. So that's a great place to go. So we'll put a link to that so you can check that out as well. But if you guys have made it this far in the show, you guys know what to do. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Our goal is 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year so we can monetize the show. So make sure to do that. Check us out on social media for clips from all the last 96 episodes or 93 episodes. And check us out every Monday morning for new episodes on podcast platforms near you. My name is Ryan Snod, it rhymes with Odd, and I'm out. Peace. Thank you so much for watching yet another episode of the Rhymes with Odd podcast. We really do appreciate your support. If you could give us a 5-star review on Apple iTunes, that makes a world of difference, guys. Also, if you're tuning in on YouTube or Spotify, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode, and check us out on social media. Also, if you'd like to inquire more about our services here at Snod Media Group or learn about doing your own podcast for your own business, you can find us at snodmedia.com. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.